This is the Retirement Solution Podcast with financial advisor John Hicks, founder of J. Hagan Capital.
And I'm Heather Branch here with John, asking for his insight on ways you can better prepare for your financial future. RetirementSolutionRadio.com is where you can start your own conversation with John and his team at J. Hagan Capital. We also have links posted in the show notes, so you can just click there, or again, find us at RetirementSolutionRadio.com. So, 'tis the season for March Madness.
Yes, it is.
But did you participate in brackets of any kind or any
Absolutely.
kind of pools? I didn't
I'm in
do
like
it this year.
9 brackets.
Are you really?
And I will not even place in the top 10% in a single one of them.
Is there a strategy? Do you do different picks on each of the brackets, or do you do all the same? Or
I
guess
do
there's no point
basically
doing all
like the logical one.
Right.
And then I do the emotional one,
Okay.
whether it's, have Kentucky, winning or going much deeper
Sure.
than they typically should, or whatever it else is, or Louisville, or trying to get the matchups that I want to see, type of thing. So there's kind of that one. And then I'll have the ones where I'm basically playing the people that are in the division, trying to figure out what do I think they're going to do. All I got to do is get a couple points more than that guy. And when I've done it like that, because I know the people, the 8 or 9 or 12 people in those pools, I typically do okay in those.
Okay.
Yeah, because those are the ones we typically do for a little bit of money. Just a little bit of money.
bit, just for fun.
Yeah.
Nobody's trying to get rich off a bracket. If you are, that's a whole different radio program.
I know. But I didn't hear this year. Is Warren Buffett doing his thing where he's going to give $1 million to anyone that gets the perfect bracket?
Because that's never, I haven't heard either. And that's literally never happened, right?
Never,
the history
never
of
once.
it.
Correct.
I wonder if it will ever, you have to wonder if it will ever happen.
Statistically, it will happen at some point in time.
Okay.
Now, I don't know in the end, do you have to select the exact right basketball score of that final game?
Right.
Because I've seen a couple where they offer a crazy amount of money. You don't have to get it exactly right, but you have to get the exact right score of those two teams in the end. And to me, that's got to be like 1 in 100 bazillion quintillion.
You have a better chance of winning the lottery, don't you?
Or being struck by lightning every day for a month.
Right. Literally.
Yeah.
I appreciate the enthusiasm about March Madness. I don't pay a ton of attention to college basketball. I like it. It's fun. I'm a good fair weathered fan, if I'm being totally honest.
Okay, there you go. I like the competition.
Yeah.
I like watching the young guys because they're still hungry.
Yeah.
This is the thing that I always get. And I don't know. NFL football
That's the
is a
thing
little
about
different.
college sports. Yeah.
NFL football is a little different. Those guys always strap it on, and they're going out there to play every week.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Other professional sports, baseball. I mean, they play every day, sometimes double headers during the whole summer. They just get fatigued.
Yeah.
They're just tired. In basketball, professional basketball, I do not understand why so many people, oh my gosh, yes.
So many egos.
And they loaf and they don't play defense and all those kind of things. It just kind of aggravates me. So I do love the March Madness aspect of these young people going out there to prove it. This is their one shot to try to, become something, or they feel like it's that one
Moment
shot.
of glory, yes.
Yeah. And I love it because this is where you get to see them rise to the challenge. You get to see the people that thrive under pressure. It's pretty impressive. Realistically.
To say the very least. And of course, the thrill of the Cinderella stories, everybody loves that. That's
absolutely
one of the favorite parts of the tournament. But the whole idea of the bracket and the bracketology, as it's known, it's such a huge phenomenon all across the country. Think about how many hours have been spent over the last weeks picking out brackets.
I'll guarantee you that there is about 20% efficiency of the productivity of my office this past week.
Oh, sure.
20%.
Sure.
At best.
But the phenomenon of bracketology is so much of a phenomenon. College courses are being taught about it. University of Cincinnati professor Mike Magazine taught a class about bracketology.
It is big business. If you think about what goes on every year, everybody's involved in an office pool. So when you take that activity that's sort of ubiquitous within every place of business, then along with the availability of huge amounts of data, we're saying there must be ways that we can actually try to learn something and actually do this better, this activity of filling out brackets.
So some of the things that he said are very relatable in the work that you do when we talk about using the data. How can we learn? How can we do better in brackets? Because when it comes to brackets, we need to be paying attention to in our retirement. Tax brackets are very real.
Absolutely.
We have to pay attention because, well, first of all, I mean, that the whole problem with a lot of people falsely being misled to believe that they are going to be in a lower tax bracket in their retirement, that's a problem.
Sure.
When it comes to tax brackets, just generally speaking for our retirement, I mean, using the data, using the information, how can we do better?
Absolutely. And Heather, what I would say is this is where, unfortunately, our citizens are very poorly educated with financial literacy when it comes to the tax brackets.
Yeah.
Let me give you the most fundamental truth to every tax structure in the entire United States. Not every dollar is taxed the same. I'm going to say it again. This is of the utmost importance, and it'll start to get our heads going the right direction.
Okay.
Not every dollar is taxed the same. No, because of that, in its very nature, that means that our tax brackets could be completely different. If you have 5 couples and they all make $100,000, the majority of people would say, well, they're going to pay a really similar tax. No, that's not even remotely true. Some of those people may pay absolutely $0 in taxation. Some of them may pay more, substantially more than the suggested tax rate would be, the tax bracket would be, because you would be in the 22% tax bracket if you have $100,000 of income. And yet some people may pay no taxes at all. How is that, John? Because not every dollar is taxed the same. We have clients that earn $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 of income in a year.
Okay.
And many of them are in the lowest tax bracket.
Okay.
The lowest, which is 12% currently. Most people say, well, John, how is that the case? They should be in the 32 or 35% tax bracket based on that. And yet they're not. Why? Because not every dollar is taxed the same. The way that we do deductions, how are we deriving that income? If you get income from dividends, like our good friend Warren Buffett, the majority of his income from Berkshire Hathaway does not come from his salary. I believe his salary is $1 a year. I could be wrong. That may be Jeff Bezos's, whose salary is $1 a year. So don't quote me on that exactly. But his salary is absolutely nothing compared to how he typically receives his money, which is a capital gain because it's dividend income. So Warren Buffett, believe it or not, and this is a true story, Warren Buffett, I can't remember what he made last year, $34 billion, $20 billion, whatever the amount of money is, it was another level of money. He was in a lower tax bracket than his secretary. His secretary, who made, she had a very good wage. She made about $400,000 a year. She paid more in her tax bracket, a higher marginal tax bracket than Warren Buffett. Now, guys, see the point? Not all dollars are taxed the same. What we want to make sure that we do is we want to stay away from a lot of the things that a lot of us own. If you have bank interest, if you have CDs at a bank, ladies and gentlemen, that is the most oppressive tax in the entire tax code. There is nowhere to hide from ordinary income. So when you put your money in a bank CD, we may be excited, so unbelievably excited that we're getting 5% or whatever we're getting because we haven't seen those rates in forever. But the way we're taxed on that is the most oppressive. If you had a 5% distribution from a dividend, you would pay considerably less income taxes. As a matter of fact, if you're in the 12% tax bracket and you have dividend income or capital gains, you could potentially pay 0 taxes on that. That's right. In certain tax bracket, there is no capital gains rate. This can amount to tens of thousands of dollars of income that you get to keep instead of giving to the government. So understanding tax brackets is one thing, but understanding how we are taxed in those brackets is completely different. When most people get to the idea of retirement or they're thinking about, hey, John, how am I going to create money to live off of in retirement? I got this, big old pile of money in my 401k or my IRA, and I'm going to have a little bit of money come in for Social Security. But how do I create the rest of it in an income? Well, how your advisor or how you calculate that income, what assets spend money off to you may be the difference in you being in a 12% tax bracket or a 24 or a 32% tax bracket. Guys, that is like paying twice or 3 times more in taxes based on how you're having that money come out to you. That is a tremendous difference. Every week we run tax analysis in our office for those of you that call in and say, hey, I want a second opinion.
Yeah.
I want to see what you guys are talking about. I've heard you for years. You make sense. I just don't want to be sold anything. Right. Well, let me make a quick promise. There is nothing we can sell you because we don't hawk products. What we want to find out is where you are today, where you want to go, and what is the most efficient path to get you there. If you're already on that path, you don't need us. It's literally that simple. Yeah. But if you find out that our mathematical approach is going to save you tremendous money in fees or tremendous money in taxes or give you a better return with less risk, well, you'll make your own decision. Yeah. But the point is that all of those things matter. So when we're looking at how do we want to derive income for that client, what we're looking at first is, well, how much of that is money they have to have and how much of it's just kind of fun money? Right? Mm-hmm. How much of they say, well, John, we have to have $5,000 a month to pay the mortgage, to make sure we can have a new car, to make sure we can pay for food and we can go see the grandkids we want. Sure. But we would really like another $3,000 a month just for fun, just to do all of the crazy stuff, to maybe put a new wraparound deck on in a couple of years, things like that. I'm like, absolutely. Knowing how we want to live that life will then dictate how we create the income for it. Sometimes we can make completely tax-free income streams if we have a little bit of time to wait, right? If we don't need all that money right now, we just know, let's say in 2 or 3 years, we want to turn on that income bucket. We might be able to create 36, 40, 60 grand a year of tax-free income. Wow. If you're in the 0% tax bracket on that money, what happens if they double tax rates? Heather, what's 2 times 0?
0.
What if they triple tax rates because we're so broke in this country? What's 3 times 0?
0.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah. So a lot of people talk about the power of zero. Yeah. 0 tax rates or very low tax rates are what we want to try to achieve because you can live 20 to 30% better simply by understanding the brackets. And you may not be in college and you can't take a bracketology class. I don't even have to teach you the tax code. I just need to teach you to understand there are ways out there that you can put yourself in a better position. My team is excited about the opportunity to show you how we do it.
And you can begin your conversation with John and the entire team at J. Hagan Capital by visiting us at retirementsolutionradio.com. Or if it's more convenient, click on the links that we have posted in the show notes, or you can find us anytime at retirementsolutionradio.com.
Thanks for listening to the Retirement Solution Podcast with John Hicks. Begin the conversation about your savings plan with John and the team at J. Hagan Capital by visiting retirementsolutionradio.com. Be sure to listen to John's radio show, The Retirement Solution, Saturdays at 8 a.m. and Sundays at 9 a.m. on News Radio 840 WHAS.
J. Hagan Capital Inc. is not licensed in all 50 states. To find out if J. Hagan Capital Inc. is licensed in your state, please call 502-690-5635. J. Hagan Capital Inc. is not affiliated with nor endorsed by the Social Security Administration or any other government agency. It does not provide legal or tax advice. Annuity guarantees rely solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. By contacting us, you may be provided with information about insurance and annuity products offered through Jonathan Hicks, insurance license number 548962.